was quite the introduction. I'm so excited. Good morning, Tansei. Today, I'm excited to announce my candidacy for Mayor of Saskatoon. And I'm proud to do so on beautiful Treaty 6 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis, where settlers like my ancestors have found a land of opportunity. I want that opportunity for every one of us who calls Saskatoon home. I'd like to acknowledge Elder Judy Pelly, who joined us today. My heart is full. Thank you, my friend. And of course, thank you so much to my very dear friend, Rob McDonald. It means so much to me that you were the one that would introduce me here today. I've learned so much from you, and I'm very grateful for your friendship and for stepping up and saying something nice about me. So thanks for that. Just in case you want to know who these guys are, this is my daughter, Davis Bone. This is my son, Casey Bone. And I'm very honored that they are willing to stand up with me here today. Okay. So I think I'm probably the most important thank you of each one of you who are here today. To every person who encouraged me to take this journey, who have supported me as we've made our way to this moment today, I am tremendously grateful and humbled. I'm running for mayor because I want to transform Saskatoon into a shining leader on the prairies, setting an example where other cities can follow, a place where our children and grandchildren want to stay. I want every young person to find their place here, whether their ancestors are Indigenous, have been here for many generations, or newcomers, regardless of creed, culture, ethnicity, identity, or sexual orientation. Saskatoon is our home, and you belong here. We need to reimagine our city to meet the challenges of our time so Saskatoon can be a modern, progressive city where everyone feels welcome, supported, and sees a bright future for themselves and their families. To achieve this, Saskatoon must be affordable, it must be safe, it must be sustainable, and it has to have a clear vision for the future. As mayor, I want to work with and for you, and I would like to focus on 5 key priorities. First and foremost, we have to make sure that we are minding the essentials. Of course, basic infrastructure, roads and sidewalks and good services for our city, and making sure that we are addressing safety in our community. Second, I think that we must focus on housing. It is urgently needed in our city. We are dealing with a crisis. We're dealing with a crisis in access to housing. We're dealing with a crisis in affordability. And as we all know, homelessness continues to need a lot of attention if we are going to stem the flow of people that simply don't have a place to live. And to that end, I am announcing today that as your mayor, I will have a mayor's task force on homelessness. The idea is not only to bring together all of the service providers and the many people who are working so hard in our community. We need to connect them, and I think a really big piece of this, we need to bring residents in. Residents must be at the table. People who are experiencing homelessness also must be at the table. And there'll be a lot more to come on that in the weeks ahead. I think the fourth really important thing that we need to do is not only commit, but act on reconciliation and inclusion in the spirit of Mia Wakotowan. I think we need to modernize. We need to look at what we're doing with our infrastructure. We need to access better modern public transportation through bus rapid transit, green infrastructure, and also active transportation. And finally, and certainly not least, is I think we really need to consider carefully how we are looking to the future for our downtown. We've talked about downtown revitalization since the 80s, right, Rob? But I think that we are starting to see a really major shift and a major change in our city. And as we want to become a more affordable, efficient, sustainable city, how do we drive our more residents to the core? Well, part of that, you have to drive amenities to the core. It's why the Downtown Event and Entertainment District really must go forward for the future of our city. And I think that we should think carefully about what that means if we don't. It's not nice to have. I think SaskTel Centre can be moved with no impact to property tax. That will be the foundational goal. But we need to ensure that we are building a city for the future. You know, I'm reminded of the visionary leadership that allowed kids of my generation to see a future in this city. They did it by minding the basics, but also having the courage to boldly make Saskatoon into the modern city of its day. Moving railway tracks to make way for Midtown Plaza, our very first shopping mall, our very first trade and convention center, Centennial Auditorium, and our first performing arts theater, which was super controversial. And I'm old enough to remember the controversy when we got our first event center in Saskatchewan Place. These were the visionary folks that helped people of my generation see hope and opportunity here. And I think it's time that we did that again. We need to learn from the visionary leadership that does bold things when we know we need to in order to keep our young people here. As mayor, I pledge to make decisions on 3 foundational principles: doing what's right over what's politically easier in the moment. People who know me know I take the long view. I will continue to listen carefully and respectfully to all diverse voices in our community. And I'll continue to use the best evidence and data available to help Saskatoon become efficient, affordable, sustainable, safe, and welcoming to all in the pursuit of a good quality of life for the residents of our city. Saskatoon is among the fastest growing cities in Canada, providing so much opportunity for jobs, businesses, and industry. It also brings some challenges. We will meet them, all of us together, by remembering who we are as a city. We are a city that looks after each other, a city that pulls off amazing feats, especially when others say we can't, and we never give up. The pandemic was hard on all of us, and I watched how neighbors and strangers helped each other. My family went through its own tragedy during the pandemic when my husband, Casey and Davis's dad, was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, and he passed away in 2022. I will never forget how this community stepped up for our family, friends, neighbors, and complete strangers. I want to quote something that was sent to me by one of those strangers. They said, "I hope you feel wrapped in a blanket of your whole community." Wrapped in a blanket of your whole community. I just love that. It meant so much to me, and I really do want everyone to feel that support and sense of belonging. It is this feeling of gratitude and hope that makes me more determined than ever to give back and to serve. As we try to navigate a world of social media clickbait, misinformation, and disinformation, I want us to remember that foundation of caring and welcoming, striving to see the best in one another, and granting each other a little grace. I have spent the past 8 years on City Council, and it would be the great honor of my life to be your mayor. I have worked hard, I've done my homework, I have listened, and made a lot of tough decisions, and I did none of this alone. It's why the theme of this campaign is all of us together, because I know it takes a lot more than a mayor or a city council to move Saskatoon forward. We need to bring people together, to work with them, and understand their points of view in order to resolve problems. Being a mayor is not a solo job. It takes a lot of people, and I mean you too. If we want a modern, progressive city that builds Saskatoon for the future and learns from and respects the generations that went before us, I invite you to join me and an incredible, passionate team who wants to see Saskatoon move forward. A team that understands that this needs to be a place where diversity is embraced, people can afford a place to live, and everyone feels safe and welcome. We need to lead the way together, all of us. Let's get to work. Thank you. Tansei.